everyone. My name is Kayla Toure, and I'm your National American Miss Teen. Today, it is episode 3 of Namish, and I'm interviewing someone that I have admired for very long, Celinda Ortega. And I can't wait to begin speaking with her. Thank you to everyone that has joined and that's going to be joining. Comment down below some questions for Celinda. I'm so honored to have her. And we are going. Also, fun fact, guys, the life of a real actor. Oh, hi.
Hello.
How are
I'm
you?
doing good. How are you? You look beautiful.
Thank you. Well, you look beautiful
Oh, thank
all the
you.
time. All the time. It's
You're
like a everyday thing for
you're too
you.
kind. Thank you.
You
How have you
too.
been? How's your year?
My year's been pretty interesting. I feel like every single day I'm like, oh, I have a new idea. Let me do this. But it's so hard because you only get like 12 months. So I've been trying to do everything all
Yeah.
together. How have you been? I mean, I've seen all of the amazing things you've been doing in the pageant industry, modeling. So talk to us a little bit about
Thank
that.
Thank you. No, it's been great. I'm in pageant retirement now. So I recently competed in Miss Universe Dominican Republic. So that was cool. That was in September. And that was my last pageant. So it was very bittersweet, but I'm super happy with the full experience that I've had and thinking like, wow, that was like 20 years of pageantry competing, of course, because now I'm proud to be a coach, a mentor for many girls. So it's been incredible. Now I'm focused more on medical school and shadowing, just all medical school stuff now. So it's different, but I'm super happy.
Yes, I love that. Oh my goodness, you're in medical school. That's so impressive. And I know that's very hard. So since we're talking about medical school and the scholastic side of you, I guess we could change up Namish a little bit. Talk about that. And I guess you could talk about school since I know, are you in med school right now? What part of the medical industry do you want to be? Do you want to be a nurse, doctor? Talk to us about that.
Yes, so it's been a crazy ride because actually of my pageant journey. I had to be out of the country for Miss Universe Dominican Republic for most days out of the year. So I was there like for at least 32 days straight. And even before that, I had to take many trips to Dominican Republic. So right now, this is kind of my gap year because I couldn't start this fall. Because I was away. So I will be starting next year. So I'm using this gap year right now to get extra clinical experience. So I do want to become a physician, specifically a rheumatologist. And that decision, it came about after my diagnosis with lupus. So I was diagnosed with lupus in 2018, and it really turned my world upside down. Literally, I just couldn't do anything. I'm an extremely busy person, and I love being productive, doing a lot of things at once. And so once I was like diagnosed and it was very severe in 2018, I had to stop working. I couldn't do the things I was passionate about. And just like my everyday life was so different. But I'm very happy that I was able to take that negative experience and turn it into a positive because after that, I got involved with the Lupus Foundation of America and ended up becoming a state ambassador for them. And now it's like, okay, I found my true path. I went back to school for my second bachelor's degree in biomedical science. And I was like, wow, like I feel so thankful that I found my true path. So I'm so invested now in this new path and I'm excited. So this is just a good year for me to gain more experience, focus 100% on this new chapter in my life.
Well, I want to tell you that's so brave of you to make something that was possibly a negative experience for you, something that was really scary, into something that's really positive. And that's something that I truly admire about you because there are so many people. I actually did, I know that there are some celebrities that I admire and that I look up to that actually have lupus. And I'm so thankful that there are people like you in the world that are helping spread the message of what lupus truly is. I know that you called yourself a lupus warrior before, which I think is so amazing and fantastic. And I cannot wait to see you continue to spread that message in the medical field. And I know you're going to be an amazing physician. So I know that a lot of times in pageantry, people just think that pageant girls are like these gorgeous girls, and that's it. Like, they don't have no brains. And I mean, there are so many girls like you and I and so many other pageant girls that have really been showing that pageantry is much more than a pretty face, that we're goal-getters, that we're smart girls. And can you talk to us just a little bit about that? You know, I know medical school is very, very hard, but talk to us just a little bit more to really allow people to understand the hardness in medical school and education.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but I'm glad that I'm able to be a positive example for girls, especially as a pageant girl. I was competing in Miss Universe Dominican Republic, and my goal was to show people that when you're competing in these pageants, although it is a beauty pageant, we're such multifaceted women and we have so much to share with the world. And so that was one of my biggest messages in the interview room, and even anytime I was able to speak up about my platforms, because I do have two. So I have my nonprofit, my youth empowerment program, Stellar Role Models, and of course being a lupus ambassador. So being able to show that side and like saying, okay, I'm a medical student with 2 bachelor's degrees, you can do it all. And that's like so important for girls to hear. That is something, and not just pageant girls, but I want people who aren't in the pageant industry to really hear and absorb that message, because for some reason, a lot of people believe like you either have to be one or the other. It's either beauty or brains. You can't do both. So that's why I'm super happy to be an example and show people that, yes, we are representation for women that are true examples that you can do anything you set your mind to do. So I'm very happy about that.
Yes, I love that. And you talked about, I'm so sorry if it is loud. You talked about stellar role models, and I've actually seen a few girls that I know that are a part of that. So can you talk to me a little bit about that? Because I think that that's so awesome.
Of course. So it started actually, so I'll start with my National American Miss journey because it ties in with my nonprofit. So I started in 2004, which is kind of crazy when I think about the fact that I started almost 20 years ago with NAM. And I started as a junior preteen because I was so shy. Like, when I tell you I couldn't even, like, no public speaking. I had my mom talking for me, and like I was just known as the quiet girl in school, super shy. So I think it caught a lot of people by surprise that I did a pageant and was someone that was interested in being on stage, because when you saw me anywhere else, it was like, did not talk. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this pageant. It was a great way for me to get out of my comfort zone. And then after I started getting more involved with NAM, which was like my only pageant until I gave up my National All-American Miss title, but I gained so many life skills. And that was like the moment when I realized, like, wow, when I think about my first year National American Miss, to the point where I became a national queen, like that growth was so important. The public speaking skills, and even if you aren't a public speaker, but just getting yourself out there, doing an interview, writing a resume, and doing community service and appearances, that was able to like turn me into the confident person I am today. And the reason I was able to take more risks, like even like after National American Miss, going to compete for Miss America, Miss USA, and even Miss Universe Dominican Republic, those were decisions that I don't think young Celinda would have believed like she could do that, but because I was able to grow that confidence, I was able to, you know, just obtain more success thanks to the skills that I learned from NAM and the confidence. So that's something that was super important for me to, you know, pay it forward to other girls, to teach and instill those skills. So I started, it started as Miss Lucky Star. It was an after-school program for girls in Paterson, New Jersey. I was a volunteer at their school district, and I was like, okay, I notice a lot of girls in elementary and middle school are dealing with low self-esteem, or they reminded me of my younger self where they were very shy, very into their shell. So I wanted to help them kind of blossom and be able to use their voice, speak up, and be more confident. So we started with some success workshops, and then we did little Miss Lucky Star pageants at the school. And so the girls were able to grow, and you saw the transformation. And that was like the aha moment where I was like, I want to do this outside of just a school, one school district. I want this to be an open success workshop and inner beauty pageant for girls all around the country. So that's how I was able to get that idea. And I'm so thankful now that it's grown. It's been 10 years now. And so yeah, I'm able to help girls. We provide mentorship, which is cool. So we have a lot of girls that either are pageant girls or successful in their industries, any career, and we pair them up with the girls so they have a leader to look up to. So we provide a lot of stuff, and that's my baby. So I could talk hours about stellar role models, but it's something that has helped me and even the girls that are a part of the program. They're NAM girls or even girls that are just interested in pageants, but they use these experiences to help them thrive in school and beyond. So that's really exciting.
I absolutely love that. And you talked a lot about NAM, and we all love National American Miss. And I think of National American Miss, in my opinion, as the mother system, because NAM has, out of all the other pageant systems, it has the most Miss USAs and Miss Americas. And you've been able to compete in both of those pageant systems. So can you talk about where you began with National American Miss and how it has allowed you to be the person that you are today?
Yeah. So thinking back, okay. I started as a junior preteen, and I competed for preteen, took a long break, and then came back when I was older as a teen. And so that's when I started seeing a difference. So I needed to kind of discover myself, get to know my interests, and also I feel like you have to make sure that your life outside of pageantry is kind of more developed, like try to figure yourself out before you jump into a pageant, or if not, you can jump into a pageant, but I feel like it's important to really get to know yourself to be that multidimensional, that multifaceted queen. So I felt like that's what I did, and that helped me succeed as a teen and then eventually as a Miss. So that's why when I came back for Miss, which was my 5th year, I got first runner-up at states and then ended up going to nationals for my very first time. And it was kind of weird because I wasn't expecting to win nationals on my first time. I feel like in that time, I saw girls going back year after year, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have fun. I wanna just try it. Especially, I really thought, okay, this is my last year with NAM. At the time, I was 18 and the age limit was 19 years old to do Miss. Now I'm glad that they expanded their age limit, and that's very good because I want more girls to have that opportunity. NAM was, and still is, my second family. It really is the mother system, I agree, because I feel like they even help you branch out. It's a good launching pad for other things that girls want to do. So I'm very thankful that I was able to have so many experiences as a national queen, like going to see Miss America, which kind of planted that Miss America dream for me. And then eventually traveling the country, I'm like, okay, I can see myself being a spokesperson for other systems too, like Miss USA. I was able to finally envision myself as, like, I don't know, a queen for Miss America. So that's why I decided, after I gave up my title, to do the Miss America organization. That was like my first experience kind of as a Miss, doing swimsuit and everything. So it was a little intimidating because, as we know, National American Miss is a pageant that doesn't have a swimsuit competition, and they're more focused on public speaking, communication, leadership skills. So it was a big change, but I feel like once you have that base, that foundation that NAM gives you, you can take those risks and just go for it. I feel like that's the power that NAM gave me. And I'm very happy to say that. So Miss America, I only did 1 year just because at that time they were changing some rules. So I was like, I'm gonna go to Miss USA because they had a vision that aligns more with my beliefs, which is a girl can do it all. So Miss America took swimsuit out, and I feel like you should be able to do both. I want to show girls that you can embrace your femininity, you can embrace your beauty, and still show that you're an intelligent, successful woman. So I really loved the Miss USA system, so I wanted to do that one after. And that's how I got involved in Miss USA. Eventually, on my 3rd attempt, I won Miss New Jersey USA. And that was such a great experience, being able to walk on the Miss USA stage. But like I said, it's National American Miss and what they have instilled in me. That's the reason why I was able to just go for it. Because before I started competing in those pageants, I felt like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. Like, I don't see myself as like that, like, supermodel Miss USA style look. So I'm grateful that, I was able to just take the plunge and have that faith in myself. So thank you to NAM.
Yeah, Yes, thank you to NAM. And I feel the same way, especially in my acting career. If I hadn't been competing at NAM, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I said this at one of the states I went to, that NAM was kind of like the region that I started my acting career. Like, I was on the stage at
Really?
7 years old doing the actress competition, literally re-saying a whole commercial. And now I'm here doing self-tapes and auditioning for these really big projects. So I'm forever thankful for NAM as well. And something that I wanted to talk about is that you won on your first try at nationals. That is so impressive. I won on my second try at nationals, so I was kind of close to you, just almost.
That's impressive too.
So yeah, I mean, first try is super impressive, and I think that that really allows you to be a testimonial, because so many people think that you have to compete at NAM for like 10 years or go to nationals for like 8 years to be able to win. So can you talk to us about your experience when your name was called as a winner? How did it feel? Did it feel like all the years that you worked hard finally for this moment? So talk to us a little bit about that.
It's funny because I was watching my crowning moment recently. So there's one on YouTube, but I was watching like the full one where I just see like I'm in the top 5 and one by one they're getting called and I'm just like in disbelief that I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I get this far? But it's because, again, I went in not too competitive. Like, I just wanted to try it out for the experience. Again, I loved the state pageants and like they were my second family. I wanted to just feel what it's like to go to California, be with my sister queens and all my friends. And after, once the crowning moment came, I was like, okay, they called my name. I was just like, I wanted to like pass out. I was so excited. But I think the moment really showed me that I'm happy that I was tenacious and didn't give up. Because again, I started in 2004, so it did take a lot of learning, development. It took 5 tries. So for girls that are a little like nervous, like, oh, when will my time come? Stick to your goals. It was planted in your head for a reason. If you feel like this is your passion or you need to keep going, please don't give up. Because if I had given up, I wouldn't have had like literally the rest of my pageant experience stemmed from like that confidence and like that aha moment when I was crowned as National All-American Miss. But then also I feel like what made the difference that last year when I was crowned, so I feel like I was not focused so much on comparing myself to other people, there to have fun. But I think another thing that's important is National American Miss is really looking for girls who take initiative and like they're proactive in their communities. So another like some piece of advice that I have for girls is that if you are interested in that national title, and you totally understand, it's like speak up and like start anything you want to do. So that's when I started my after school program. And I know that a lot of NAM girls are creating their own initiatives, which is amazing. Show up as that national queen, keep doing those things because that experience is what's going to give you the confidence to take on that national queen job. So I think that was what made the difference. I was like, wow, I'm so proud of myself because the leadership skills that I've gained throughout the years, I really demonstrated it that last year. So I was super proud.
Definitely. And you are a pageant coach, like you said earlier. And I know there are so many girls that are on here that will be competing on that NAM national stage in less than 4 weeks. So we're going to start with some advice with Celinda because she's competed at NAM. Miss USA, congratulations on that title. I remember when you won and I was so happy for you and you were crowned with one of my friends, Delaney. So I was so excited. And competing at Miss Dominican Republic University placed top 10, correct?
That's correct.
Which is so impressive. So congratulations on all the amazing things that you've done. If you guys have any questions for Celinda, please comment down below because now we are going to get to some advice questions on preparation and then we're going to go back to her NAM journey because I have many more questions. So my first question for you, you won in 2014, correct?
I did,
yes. And now it's 2023, so it's been kind of a while ago. Talk to us a little bit about your preparation and how you were able to prep to win that blue banner, that National All-American Miss title.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with my teen years because I feel like just to show you the difference, I was doing community service as a teen. I felt like my public speaking skills were excellent at the time, but I feel like the key that was missing was I needed to sharpen some skills. So I did end up getting a coach for my last year. So the year I won National All-American Miss, I had an amazing mentor who was Hwang Kim Kang. She was National American Miss 2012. So I think that that's also another thing that showed me how important mentorship is. And I wanted girls, like, that's why I added that to my nonprofit, because even if you don't have like a pageant coach, I feel like don't be afraid to ask for help or reach out to the national queens like Kayla, because they are so sweet, kind, happy to help you guys. And so yeah, Hwang Kim Kang, she helped with my required competitions. I felt like super confident at that point. And like I said, I feel like that year is national. Well, my city title was Miss Fairlawn. So I was doing a lot of active appearances and just showing up as the National All-American Miss. So my mentality was, I'm already a national queen, or I'm going to start showing up as the National All-American Miss. And what that means is, you know, instead of thinking like, okay, that could be me in the future, start doing things now. So that's what I was doing. I was doing public appearances. Even with my city title, I was like traveling the state and even going to New York and trying, doing workshops and like just getting my voice out there heard. And I felt like once I made it to nationals, I felt so capable of the job, confident in myself. And I think that's what led to my win.
Yes, and I actually had a similar instance like you. I think I said that. Yeah, I think I said that correct.
Yeah.
I had Jordan Meacham. She also kind of mentored me before nationals, and I felt so prepared. And similar to what you said, I was also doing appearances. Although I had a state title, I was just making sure that I was prepared for nationals and prepared if I did win, that I was ready to be the national queen. And since we're talking about that, I know for me, as the Miss New York Teen, my least favorite required competition has always been formal wear. It's always been something that I have scored very low on. I started wearing heels as a junior teen, which is very late. So I had to always like practice in my heels, practice formal wear. So what part of competition for you was the hardest during nationals?
During nationals, okay. For me, I think what was the most intimidating at first was personal intro, but that was because, again, I'm so introverted and the shy girl is still within me. I feel like you kind of like will always have that inside, but the key is to just keep pushing past that. And like, even if you're nervous, do it scared, do it like, however you're feeling, you are capable of it, and just surpass those feelings. So I always had like the nerves before personal introduction, but once I got up there and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm talking about. I can do this. I know myself better than anyone else, and I have such a strong why. So that's what kind of like kept me motivated. And that's why, once I was on stage, the nerves kind of went away once I started talking, because again, I really wanted my message to be heard. So that kind of overpowered my introverted, like nervous feelings.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like so many people think that because we are national title holders that the required competitions for us are like so easy. Like we definitely get nervous. There are times where we're like, oh goodness, I have to get on stage and say my whole 30-second intro. So I'm so thankful that you're kind of able to highlight that part of you that I feel like so many people don't know, because I thought that you were extroverted. But then again, I feel like there's a stereotype that every single pageant girl is extroverted or loves to talk like 24/7. So I'm forever thankful that there are representatives like you that are showing that you can be introverted and also be a pageant title holder and also be inspirational and empowering. So I'm very thankful for that. And did you do any optionals at nationals? Did you win any optionals? Talk to us about that.
Oh my gosh. So I'm getting a flashback to my casual wear. So I did casual wear, and I believe just casual and photogenic. So I was more focused on my required competitions, but I wanted to get a chance to be on stage before the required competitions. So that's why I signed up for casual wear, and I'm glad I did, because I was so nervous. And like, actually I tripped during my casual wear. So I was like, okay, it's over. Like, I don't know, that kind of like freaked me out in the beginning of nationals. But then again, I was like, okay, I'm going to persevere. Like, we didn't get this far, go through this for so many years to give up now. So I was able to, yeah, I got past that. And then for required competitions, formal wear went great. And luckily things went smoothly after that. But I love casual wear. And like now as a coach, that's one of my favorite things to coach girls for. It's like coming up with the routines and kind of like showing off each girl's personal style. I think it's so much fun because formal wear, you know, you have that specific pattern. But with casual wear, I feel like you get to be more creative. And now I love coming up with walks. So that's one of my favorite things as a coach. And casual wear is like my favorite optional.
Yes, I also like casual wear. I never do it as an optional, though. I think, like I said before, I don't love formal wear. So casual wear is just like formal wear times 10.
Yeah.
And after watching the IM convention slash NAMIs, I always see all these girls that have the most intricate walking patterns. They do like 10 turns, and I'm just like, I think I'm good. I'd rather watch, but we'll see, guys. Maybe I'll do casual wear.
Did you do
when I come
actress
back.
and talent? I assume those were yours,
Yes,
right?
I did actress, and it was my first year. I performed at the IM convention, which I was so excited for. I got national actress and then first runner up to the international. And I was going to do talent, but when I did it in 2020, I didn't place. I did a monologue. So I felt kind of discouraged. I was like, never mind. I'm just going to do actress and spokesmodel. Okay, so we talked a little bit about optionals and NAM nationals. Now, as you know, I feel like National American Miss has changed a lot since the early 2000s, but I think that's something that National American Miss has made sure that they kept is their love for volunteer service and their importance of making sure that these girls become the future leaders of America and that they feel confident within themselves and how they're spreading that to other girls in the nation. So can you talk to us about how you feel like National American Miss has kind of transformed since you've competed? Because I know you said you've been competing since 2004, which to me is it's kind of insane because that's the year I was born. So I'm like, wow.
Imagine me, I'm like, I'm so mind blown. Like, I can't, even thinking about the number, I'm like, I shock myself, like, whoa.
Yes.
Like, I feel old. But it's okay. I'm actually like, again, when I look back, very, very thankful for that experience. But yes, I've seen so many changes, like since 2004. Everything has gotten so much more enhanced from the stage, the program books and the marketing collateral, and even just like the excitement year after year, it just builds because the legacy is growing. We get more national queens, like amazing queens like you that get into the sisterhood and the alumni association. So every year you just get more excited and it's like the enthusiasm just builds up. But for me, I'm trying to think. So having the merge is interesting. I'm still, learning more about it. I want to actually go to internationals this year, the pageant powerhouse, to see it for the first time because I didn't get to go in 2020 or 2021. Or actually, no, I have not gone since they started. So that's one of my goals is to see it. But I think what I love is that the values are still the same. Like you said, I like that National American Miss is still making sure that girls embrace their public speaking, communication, leadership skills, but also making sure that the growing confidence slogan, the things that things that matter, such as like going after any career goal, any dream that you have, that is still the core of what NAM is about. So I'm happy that it feels like you see the changes, but it's still NAM at the end of the day. The family still is the same. So when I go to see my family, it feels like nothing has changed because it's still that like high quality support group.
Yes, most definitely. High quality support group that is always there for you 24/7.
And
yes.
It's seriously like that. I feel like my best friends are from National American Miss. I still keep in touch with my national sister queens. You mentioned Jordan. I love Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
So we were so close and like to this day, like we still keep in touch. And I'm so, so lucky that I had such an amazing support group, such great friends because of National American Miss that I still keep in touch with today.
Yeah.
So
Yes, most definitely. I agree. I feel like every single year NAM has a more and more iconic group of national title holders.
Yeah.
I mean, your year so impacting, like so impacting. I remember seeing you on the magazines. And fun fact, guys, my mom has actually collected all of the magazines from like each state. Yeah, each state pageant I went to, she has collected the magazine. So I'm able to just look back and be like, wow. And even to this day, seeing myself on the magazines, I'm like, that is insane. Like, I was literally 5 years old wanting to be like you guys, and now I'm able to call myself the NAM teen. So I keep saying I'm thankful, but I'm honestly so blessed to have looked up to role models like you, Celinda, that were always authentically yourself and that always gave back to your community and helped empower girls like me. So
Thank you. And it feels the same, like from my perspective, it's like year after year, like you said, like when I saw you crowned and like your year, every year, it's like I get so proud of the NAM girls that joined the sisterhood. And even seeing the girls compete, like hearing the intros when I'm like on the live stream, I'm like, every year it's just, it shows that NAM is still showcasing, highlighting how impressive NAM girls really are. Like,
yes.
I'm always in awe of you guys. So
me too. I love it. So we're going to talk a little bit more about advice. If you guys have any advice questions or just any questions for Celinda, I mean, I know you guys have lots of questions for her. People were so excited when I posted that I was interviewing you. So definitely comment down below, guys. I'm going to ask some advice questions for possibly the girls that are here watching. Do you have any advice for the required competitions and maybe some advice for those that get really nervous before they get on stage?
Sure. So for the required competitions, I feel like I'll start with personal introduction because that was one, it's now my favorite. So I did say like that was the most intimidating for me, but it is my favorite competition because the thrill of like getting over it, like, oh my God, I did that. I was able to speak to such a large crowd. My piece of advice for personal introduction is, I know that it's tempting to want to put like everything on your resume into your introduction, but my key is focus on what are like your two most important priorities for your year if you were to be crowned, and just try to stick with that theme. So I always say like I'd rather have like a catchy intro with like a nice flow to it instead of hearing like, you know, 20 points in a 1 or 30-second or 1 minute intro. So just keep that in mind, but make sure also, like, I know that there are videos out there, like you may hear other intros, but try to stay true to you and your public speaking style because every girl has their essence and you really have to showcase it there because I feel that's where you really see it shine. Whereas like formal wear, it has like a pattern that everyone follows. That one is more uniform. Personal introduction and interview are your moments to like really show off your uniqueness. And I know that formal wear, you get to pick your dress. That's a way to show off your personality, but make sure that you guys are really thinking about, okay, what are my key points about myself? What is the most important message I want to portray? And really prioritize those in your interview room while still speaking from the heart. So that's like my kind of advice for both interview and introduction. For formal wear, I suggest I would record yourself. So I know like for me, watching my DVDs was so crucial for my growth. Like I would watch my DVDs and record myself, send it to my coach, Hwan Kim Kong, who helps me so much. And I was able to sharpen my walk to a T. So, and actually formal wear was like my highest score, like perfect. So I was like, okay, I finally like kind of figured out the format. So that I think working with a coach for formal wear is helpful for people, but if not, I would say like head to toe, make sure that your body language is just showing that you're calm, confident, you're relaxed, but you're open and inviting. So sometimes, you know, if you look tense, whether your arms are too tight or not moving, or sometimes if we're moving our neck too fast, like looking here, eye contact is too fast, that is like body language that shows to the judges that you're either tense, too nervous. So keep it nice and relaxed. So think about head to toe. How can I portray that I'm calm, confident, and capable of this job? It's all about body language, confident body language.
Yes, I most definitely agree. And before we get to that question, my next question, which, I mean, if you're probably on here, then you know the difference, but I feel like still some girls don't know the difference. Talk to us about the difference between blue banner and red banner. There's a whole YouTube video about it, but we could hear from the National American Miss, who definitely knows the difference.
Yes. So National American Miss, the red banner, and All American Miss, the blue banner, I would say the core values are the same, but of course the state queens compete for National American Miss, city queens compete for All American Miss. And there are, you know, some small differences in the prize package, but other than that, the required competitions are the same. optionals, you get the same opportunities for All-American Miss. It's just a chance for girls who may not have won that state title to get that redemption or just that second chance. And I really admire that National American Miss gives that opportunity. I was so happy that there was an All-American Miss program, because when I got first runner-up at my Miss State pageant, it was very close. I was so discouraged, but I'm like, wait a minute, like, I know I'm so capable of this job. I know I can be a national queen. So let me try this different avenue. And it worked out to be so great. I feel like that's the only difference. Other than that, my year with the rest of the national queens, it was very similar to what the Red Banner queens go through. But yes, all the competitions are the same. The girls, it's still kind of the same caliber at nationals, but yes, it's just state and city queens, in my opinion.
Yes, I most definitely agree. And like Celinda said, I feel like so many times, because people get first runner up or second or third or fourth, they kind of feel discouraged, like, oh man, I couldn't win. And something that I especially love about National American Miss is that it allows girls that have gotten that part to come back again, and they don't have to compete with the state title holders. Because in my opinion, I feel like that's just a little unfair. So NAMA's created their own portion of competition where now you can compete with the other runners up that also got first runner up or second runner up in their city. So I think that's so amazing, and I always think of it as like a second chance. And look, if you wouldn't have just, so you know what, I got first runner up, and you're like, it's okay, maybe I'll come next year. But you decided to go to nationals, and then you won that national All-American Miss title. So anything is possible, guys. Do not feel discouraged, because like she said, you still have an amazing time. You still go on so many appearances, and you still get to do that amazing summer tour.
So true.
Yes. And you have a question, Celinda. It's from Angel Gabriel. Would you like to read it?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to read it? Or I think you could read it.
Okay, let me see. Okay, got it. Okay, what advice can you give to a national junior preteen contestant when they are competing in NAM for the first time as their very first pageant? Well, congratulations, and I'm so excited that this is your first year. You have picked a great system. So my advice for a junior preteen, so that was actually the year I started, I feel like, yes, you are young, but don't be afraid to speak up and use your voice. I know that was something that I had to develop, and I feel like I developed it a little late. But it's never too early to start getting yourself out there. And I think before you go to nationals, try to get some experience in your community, whether it's like speaking to a public audience, finding a community service event where you can kind of introduce yourself with your banner. And that's how I was able to grow, was like by finding those community experiences where I'm able to talk and show off my public speaking skills, just get more comfortable, more out of my comfort zone. And if not, just try finding ways to, like, there's this quote, do something every day that scares you. That way, it's like, once you have experience getting out of your comfort zone, once you're at nationals, I feel like it's less scary when you have experience, like, overcoming fears. So I feel like that's a big part. Really focus on just having fun. I know that it's still so much pressure because, again, that NAM national title is so coveted, so prestigious. But just make sure that when you're there, NAM makes such a beautiful week out of it, from the Thanksgiving banquet and all the parties. Like, try to really enjoy yourself, especially junior preteen. Have fun and just be your authentic self, and just make sure that you are present. Stay present, stay calm. And yeah, I hope that helps you. And feel free to DM me if you have specific questions, though, about like personal intro or formal wear. I'm happy to see any videos, give any advice for specific questions too. Okay, and I see also Maria says, what is the best way to stand out as a teen going to nationals? So actually, I don't know if you want to address that one since you are specifically teen.
Ooh, how to stand out. I think that you kind of covered it before in the required competitions. I know that when I was getting my introduction written, before I got it written, as I coached with, my intro was written by Amanda Marino, who was also a former national All-American, I believe, Miss.
Yes.
Yes. Amanda's gonna kill me if I get that wrong. Yes, the National
Yes,
All-American Miss. And what, similar to what Celinda said, I wrote down 5 things that I wanted the judges to know about me, and I made sure that when I went into interview that I talked also about those 5 things. So that's how I stood out. I also knew what I wanted to do if I won the National American Miss Teen title, and I just made sure that I was my true, authentic self, and that honestly, I didn't care about what others were saying, because my year, in my opinion, was probably the most difficult. I was competing with everyone was incredible.
Yeah.
And I remember throughout nationals, it was just, oh, you know, this and this. And I just made sure that I said to myself, if it's my time, it's going to be my time. I'm going to show the judges why I believe I'm the best representative, but I'm also going to show them my confidence and what makes me different from the rest. So just worry about that. And honestly, worry about yourself and how you are going to be the best national All-American Miss Teen or the best National American Miss Teen that you possibly could be. I think you can kind of go more into it, Celinda, because although you didn't win the teen title, you won the Miss title, which is incredible. You competed with hundreds, because the All-Americans compete with hundreds of girls. So talk to us a little bit about that, how you were able to stand out.
Okay, so actually when you mentioned how like it's so important not to think about what other girls are doing, I remember when I arrived, I was like, oh, I'm competing with former state queens. Like, I never had a state title, by the way. So fun fact, I was never Miss New Jersey. I was just a city queen and went to nationals one time and won. So that just goes to show it's like, it doesn't matter if you're not the most experienced, if you haven't been doing it for a long time, if it's your first time at nationals, you really can walk away as a national queen if you believe in yourself. Stay in your own lane, focus on your strengths, your talents, because your unique essence, the way that you portray yourself and your points, that's something that no one else can really talk about. So focus on your uniqueness and your points, like your why. I think also something that I wanted to go more into detail in, I think what makes a difference between maybe like semifinalist, top, or the winner is that winner is so, I would say they have their plan down to a T, if that makes sense. So instead of like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do community service, or I really care about this, tell me with like metrics like, okay, I have done like 4 appearances at my local hospital, and this year I plan to do at least 1 hospital visit in at least 10 states. Show me that you have thought about like in detail what your plan is for your year, and just show your passion for what you do. And that comes with the authenticity of your message. So as a judge too, so I have been a pageant judge, the authenticity and your passion for what you do is so important. So, you know, yes, it's good to do community service, but where does your passion come in? How did you tie your own story to this? And why do you care about it so much? And what actions are you taking? So I love to see action. And I feel like a lot of the winners are very action oriented. And instead of just talking about like what they hope to do, they're already living in the moment, showing that, you know, they're already working towards those causes.
And this is a question that I have for you, Celinda, because I did not know that you were a judge before. So personally, if I was a contestant, guys, and I was competing for nationals, I would be asking Celinda 100 and 1,000 questions, because she was a judge, so she's been in the judge's position. Something that I kind of grew up hearing, but I didn't really understand it until I got older competing in pageantry, was that the judges are as scared as you are. Don't be scared of the judges. Judges are normal people. So can you kind of talk to us about that? Because I feel like as a contestant, yes, we know that you judges are normal people, but it's so scary because I feel like you guys are put on this pedestal where it's like, you're the one that's picking my future. You know, you can say yes or no. So talk to us a little bit about that, and if that stereotype is true or if it's false.
I think it is true, because I used to feel that way whenever I walked into a room with judges. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much pressure because they have this decision in their hands. But just keep in mind, as a judge, like, we are rooting for you guys. We're not like testing you and like trying to intimidate you or stump you. That's like the complete opposite. It's like we're there, we're like hoping like, okay, I really want to get to know this girl. I just want to see each girl shine in their own way and hear different stories. So for me, one thing I love about being a judge is that every girl's story, you get to hear like what's behind the sash, like what's behind the girl. And that's the most important. That's why interview for me is that chance to connect. So, oh, hey, Salima. Yes, make sure, guys, that when you are in front of the judges, just keep in mind it's like sometimes we are also just as nervous. We're here to do a job, but just remember it's like we are here to see you succeed, and we're like also just as enthusiastic about your success. So we want all the girls to shine, and just make sure, yeah, you keep that in mind. It's just a conversation with people who are supportive of you. We do not want to stump you. So that's the biggest piece of advice also that I would give, because I think at nationals and internationals there's so much pressure, including like, oh my gosh, like it's going to be so difficult. This is going to be, you know, do or die. But no, it really is something that a chance for you to just connect with another human. And that's why I said speak from the heart as well. Show your authentic self. Because I remember my interview for National All-American Miss, it was super casual. I felt like I wasn't uptight. I was making jokes and I was like super blunt. And I feel like that was also something that was refreshing for the judges, because I spoke to them after my crowning. They're like, yeah, we loved how like just you were very real and just go with the flow. And I felt like, yeah, I was like speaking with friends. That's how I saw my interview as All-American Miss. And I think that's what helped me with my win, was that I wasn't putting so much pressure in that interview. I was just like, okay, let me have fun and chat for a minute with this person. Let me connect and just chat with this person for a minute. Like how you would do if you're like in the hotel, you bump into someone and you're just chatting about your week or what you're up to. That's how I see it.
Yes, and I most definitely agree with Celinda. And that's actually how I was during my interview when I
You
won the
too.
19 title. I remember before interview, my mom was just like, go in there and just be yourself. Don't care. If it's for you to win, you're gonna win. And I went in there like Celinda said, I was literally joking with the judges. It was like I was talking to my best friend. And honestly, when you stop getting so much in your head about, oh my God, what are they going to ask me? Or, oh my goodness, I practiced this with my coach and I have to talk about this. If you just have a normal conversation, every worry goes away. And I remember Jordan Meacham was telling me this when we were prepping. She was like, if they ask you a regular question, please do not include your platform if that has nothing to do with it. So
That's
that's
so true.
another piece of my advice. We all love our platforms, but make sure that you include it in places where it needs to be included. And if they ask you about your favorite color and you just include your platform, yeah.
And yes, we see that a lot as a judge. Really, I know that you want to get your points in there, but make sure that it's organic, like that it flows in naturally. Because again, I feel like when it's too forced, it doesn't give the right message off. And again, it kind of it makes the connection a little less strong. So when I'm going in there, again, I'm prioritizing those points, but I'm not just going to put it in every question. Make sure that you are just like talking like a normal human. So like I know like when we're going out with friends or when we're gonna have dinner with our family, I don't think we prepare like, okay, I'm gonna say this script or this platform message. Like, no, just make sure, okay, you know your why, you know your plan, but then just speak from the heart. I swear it works so much better when you're just authentically speaking, having fun with that judge, and then it'll go, you'll see, it'll flow naturally and you'll have the chance to kind of promote yourself in a natural, positive way.
Yes, and Celinda, you have many more questions.
But
They love you. We love
I
you.
love you guys
Yes.
too. I love my family. Okay, let's see. Okay. I think we answered the questions. I do see some amazing comments. Thank you guys. I love you all, and I feel like just if you have any concerns or questions, this is the moment. Like these are the last, this is crunch time. I feel like this is the month where this is your chance to reach out to your national queens or even former alumni like me. We're always happy to help if you have interview questions, optionals questions, anything. So let me know.
Yes, you do have another question, and it says, this is in the question box. It says, what is the best way to expand your platform and tell the world what you're trying to achieve? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is good. So with platforms, I feel like make sure that you are using social media and in-person appearances. I think that's what makes a good platform, is when you can use the combination of, okay, if it depends what it is, but let's say we can do in-person events like donation drives, maybe try to tie in something that you love outside of that cause. Like, let's say if you love sports, maybe kind of do a basketball tournament that raises funds for that organization or charity. I feel like that's always a unique way to kind of make your platform stand out. And of course, promote on social media, make videos, and just, you'll see with that combination, you'll get your message heard. And I think, yeah, I would just do that. Focus on maybe combining multiple passions, coming up with unique events, and then people will get the attention. You'll even get media attention sometimes too. I know that like a couple of my girls, they've been able to combine whether it's their love for reading and a certain charity. Like one of my girls, Bria Love Noble, she was a NAM preteen national queen. She is someone that we helped her create Defending Differences. She was able to go to different school visits, and just, you can show off your talents. Whether she loves reading, she wanted to be an author, so she did a lot of book reading. So come up with ideas that combine multiple talents of yours to come up with some cool events for your platform.
Yes, I most definitely agree with Celinda on that. If you guys have any more questions, comment down below. I think I have 2 more last questions for Celinda. Ooh, we have another question. Hi, Medallion. Yes, hi Medallion. I was thinking of how to say your name because I hate saying names wrong. What is the best way as a city queen who is going to national? So maybe like, I don't know, you can interpret that however you want to interpret that. Medallion, if you want to retype the question again so that Celinda exactly knows what you're asking, or Celinda, you could just infer with what she's saying.
So, okay, what I see is, what is the best way to stand out as a city queen going to nationals? Okay, so as a city queen, All-American Miss, again, a lot of girls, there's girls from, I feel like it could be very intimidating sometimes because the divisions could feel very large. But again, own who you are. I think as a city queen, there's a reason why you are a representative. You may not have a state title, but your voice matters, and your causes, your points have to be heard. So find different ways for you to communicate and even collaborate with other girls. You can collaborate with your state queen, and just reach out to people, make connections. And I think to stand out, we touched on this a little bit before, but I think start showing up as a city queen who is already ready for that national title. See yourself as a national queen. Start thinking big picture. Okay, how can I take what I'm doing in my city to a national level? And if you think that way, it's like you're going to stand out, because like, oh my gosh, this is a city queen, but she thinks like a national queen. She's very active, and I think also she's taking initiative. So that's really important to me as a judge, as a coach. And when I'm just watching and observing, the city queens that stands out to me, they have amazing leadership skills, and leadership skills that you could see easily on a national level. And let me know if you have any other questions.
You have another question from Angel Gabriel.
Yes. What are some ways that I can do community service? Okay. So for community service, you can start out by, well, I remember I used Volunteer Match when I started getting more into community service, but that was years ago. But then I noticed like, okay, I took my personal story, or like my personal causes, the things that are very dear to my heart, and that's what I started expanding. So like I would do general community service, but I saw a difference in my success in pageants once I started getting more specific into my causes. So when I was diagnosed with lupus, again, at first it was like scary. It's like, okay, how can I even compete in pageants? I was actually going to quit pageants after I got diagnosed because I really couldn't do much. But I'm like, wait, I know I'm capable of this job still. It's just, I do have this challenge, but that doesn't stop me from, being a good leader, being a good communicator. So then I got involved with the Lupus Foundation of America. And I started, doing virtual events with them and eventually helping them with different meetings and like just raising more awareness. So find something personal in your life that really matters to you. Oh, someone said still exists, volunteer match. Exactly. So check out some events there. They post a lot of things that are happening locally. Reach out to community leaders, and also just use like your personal experience to get more involved into something that really matters to you, because that's where I think community service or your community involvement project at nationals really shines, when you really have that connection to your personal life, if that makes sense.
Yes. And my next question for you, Celinda, is I remember right after I won, I met, I think, 5 of the last NAM teens, and all of them were telling me, you're going to learn so much through this journey. And I remember saying, wow, I probably am. And now that it's been almost a year, I'm like, wow, I've changed so much as an individual in the most positive way. So can you talk to us about what you learned as a National All-American Miss Teen that has allowed you to become the person that you are today?
It's a good question, because I feel like when I think about my year as the National All-American Miss, the most important thing was I learned how to be very self-sufficient, self-motivated, and independent. So that was my first year traveling around the country by myself and just doing a lot of things kind of alone. But again, you still have your support system, but make sure that like you do get out of your comfort zone. That's what NAM taught me, is like I am capable of so much more. And that's why I was able to even accomplish so much after my reign, was because yeah, I got out of my comfort zone. I was able to be super independent. That it gave me the discipline and like the skills that I needed to be successful in the Miss America organization, the Miss USA organization, and Miss Universe Dominican Republic, because I had those really strong values, but also that hyper independence.
Yes, and I agree with you once again. Similar to like what you said, the summer tour was the first time I actually ever traveled by myself as well. So it definitely gave me that. Yeah, it's interesting because it definitely gave me that hyper independence, and it was the first time I realized I'm like, wow, like I'm actually by myself and I could do these things by myself. So it was pretty cool. So if anyone that's on here that are teens or miss that win the national titles, you'll probably be traveling by yourself. So don't worry, you'll be prepared. You'll have your sister queens as support.
Sure.
Yes. Okay, well, my last question for you, unless anyone else has any more questions, like Celinda said, you guys could DM her, send walking videos, or just ask her any questions. I want to thank you before I ask you my last question. Thank you so much for taking time out of your super busy schedule to hop on here and talk to us. You've been such an amazing guest, and it's so astonishing that I'm literally talking to someone that I literally was so inspired by and still inspired by when I was literally like, let's see, this is 2014. So I think I was like, was I 11? I think I might have been 11. I think I was 11 or 10. So I was little girl, literally saying Celinda is an inspiration to me. So I love that. My next question for you.
No, thank you. It's an honor to be here. And again, anytime I get a chance to connect with my family, the sisterhood, it really does fill me with joy, because again, this is where I started, and this is like, again, a huge honor for me.
Yes, and we'll maybe possibly, guys, let's see if it's a poll. Maybe we can like collab again before get my title. We'll see. We have 4 weeks left, so we'll see. Yes, and I do hope that you come to nationals, because we definitely have to get our picture together. So yes, we will get that picture very soon. My last question for you, unless anyone else has any more questions, is hypothetically speaking, is if there's someone that's on here that doesn't have a lot of self-confidence or just questions their self-worth, and they think that, oh man, like I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not tall enough to compete in pageants, or just to do whatever I believe to do, what would be your message to them?
I would say that if you have those feelings, just know that it's common and it happens to many girls, but just remember that it's just like sometimes those anxious feelings, sometimes we challenge ourselves or like our brain tries to play tricks on us, and sometimes there's pressure, outside forces that can make you feel intimidated or discouraged. But trust me when I tell you that I am a living example that you can achieve your goals even if you don't feel like, okay, you are the most experienced, or you, again, I won my first time at nationals by just being myself, having fun with it. And I think like, just remember your true essence, it will shine when you are just present, being yourself, living in the moment and having fun. And you have something to offer. Think about, instead of focusing on those negative thoughts, which we all have, focus on the positives. Remember, remind yourself like, okay, I'm doing this because I have this message to give, or I know I can be a good leader. I'm a good leader at, whether you're an older sister, or you're doing things in your community that show that you have good communication and leadership skills, a strong message. Focus on those positives, and you'll see that when you kind of shift your mindset that way, you'll have more success and just a happier time in a pageant when you're focused on the positives.
I most definitely agree. Definitely focus on the positives. Although it may feel hard sometimes when you have so much self-doubt, just even listen. Like sometimes if I'm sad or I'm just like, oh man, today's not my day, I literally listen to like upbeat music, like music that just makes me feel like Beyonce is really good. I don't know if you guys like Beyonce.
I love Beyonce. Yeah, she's the perfect, like I have a playlist like before a pageant. Beyonce, please include it. It's gonna, it hugs me up. It's perfect.
And it gets you before you go on stage. You're like, I'm 110% ready for that stage. You got another question. Yeah, I'm so happy that you guys are asking her questions.
Are you, let's see, are you going to come see the new NAM National Queens get crowned at NAM Nationals to see who joins the NAMily for the next year? That's my goal. Yes, I am, trying my best to make it this year because I have not gone since, I believe, 2019, 2020. Yeah, 2019 was my last year attending nationals. So I am trying my best to make sure that I make it this year because it is so fun going as an alum member. So, going and it's a nostalgic factor, but also hearing all of your stories, seeing all of you guys shine on stage. I enjoy every second of it, and it is on my calendar. I'm going to try to make it happen.
I cannot wait to see Celinda if she comes. I'm literally going to scream.
Yes, we have been dying to get her all year. I know I saw you at America's Ideal Miss.
Yes.
Like, oh, I need a picture with Kayla.
Oh my goodness. That's so insane that you said that because you were literally a judge, and I literally just like 30 minutes ago I was like, oh my goodness, you said you're a judge. Yes, she was a judge on a national level. So yeah, guys, if it was me competing, I would be asking her 1,001 questions because she has sat in that judge's seat, and then again, she's also been a contestant. So you kind of have both the perspectives. So I would be asking questions, but that's on you guys. Awesome. So if you guys don't have any more questions, you guys could DM Celinda, like I said.